So now it's time to actually cut out the hull shape, and I just use a regular old skill saw. Make sure you've got a nice long blade, a lot deeper than the foam when it's pulling up and down. You can do this by hand with the drywall saw if you have the time. I'm somebody that likes to do it a little bit faster, and this gives me the best precision and saves me a lot of time and effort. And the trick always, of course, as I've described in the text, is start by cutting your extra pieces away. Leave the hull attached to the side piece until you've got these two corners cut off, and then cut it free from your sides. So I've got the first one cut loose. Now we'll do the cut on the rear of the boat. Same as I did on the front. As always, save these waste pieces. You will use them in other parts of the hull. And you need every scrap of foam that came in those two 8-foot panels to make a boat correctly. Give yourself all the options you can. Now that you've got your bottom blank separate from the side panel, you're going to actually use that side to make the ribs, or what you make the edges of the boat out of. I'll demonstrate that here in 1 second. Looking at your side panel and measuring from where you just cut the bottom of the boat free from, you want to go and every 2 inches leave a mark. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 ribs. These are what we build the sides of the boat of. I just call them ribs. Do that at the bow every 2 inches. Do the same thing at the stern every 2 inches. And actually, I forgot, I'm making these boats deeper than I used to. You want to actually mark not to the 12, but to the 16, just to give you 2 more ribs. Now you have four full ribs, full length of each side, and have some room to even make, just for the cockpit length, a little more. I think the most I can go in the middle of the boat. Yeah, well, you almost could squeeze out 20. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that for now. See what we need to figure out later. So there you go. You go to every 2 inches all the way to 16, and mark it at both ends, like I said before. Now for the actual tracing of the ribs. This is where my 2-inch mark is. I have the bow of the boat sitting right on here. I took the waste pieces, and they're supporting the bottom blank of the boat, and at both ends I've lined it up here on this 2-inch mark so that the bow and the stern are both just over 2 inches at each end. And now, once I know that I've got it lined up the way I want, I'm going to take, and I like to use the tip of the drywall saw, and just trace all the way down. And you know, if they're not a perfect curve, don't worry about it. If there's little bumps and gaps, you know, little humps and bumps along the line, and you didn't cut it as straight as you hoped it would be, don't worry. It will all actually work out perfectly in the end. So That's my first rib traced, and then take the bottom blank, same thing, go over 2 inches, do the same at the other end, trace it again. And when you're done, you'll have all your ribs traced out on the waist. Now this step can get a little fiddly as you're trying to line things up, and you'll find you'll move this end and that end will move, and you move that end and this end will move. The trick is bamboo skewer. That's not going to move. Now I can go move my other end, and this isn't going to change. And just saving you a little bit of time and effort and aggravation. So once you've finished marking all of them, you will have the number of ribs. Now I went with 2 inch. Some builds I've gone with 3 inch, but I'm trying to make this a lighter hull, so I'm going with 2 inch. You'll be able to see as I progress if this is what works good or not. I know I did one boat, I believe, with 4 inch, and it turned out to be massive overkill. So somewhere in the 2 inch, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. I've done 3 before. Like I said, this is a 2, and we'll see where it goes from here. But the next step is simply all these lines that I just scribed into the foam to cut along them.